Kakashi's story is a story of pain, loss, and finding yourself once again. You see, Kakashi, from a very young age, understood the cost of war, of honor, of failure. He was once an idealistic young boy who faced the harsh reality of dishonor that culminated in the loss of his father. This scarred him, and he carried these scars with him well into his time as a Genin, into his time as a member of Team Minato, and ultimately until the loss of his friends Obito and Rin. These two deaths, well, one death, only compounded upon him. He lost track of the meaning and value of life, which led him down a very dark path as a member of the Anbu, down a route of desensitization in an unhealthy way of coping. Death couldn't hurt anymore if you killed so much that life had no meaning. Minato sought to break Kakashi from this path, but in the end, the death of Minato and Kushina left Kakashi in a dark pit with no light. This lasted until Hiruzen pulled him out of the Anbu, seeking to give him a new lease on life. But Kakashi wasn't the only person to ever suffer loss. This is a story about two people, very much in need of love, finding each other, and learning that loneliness can be cured through the genuine care of another person. This is the tale of Kakashi raising Naruto. Welcome to the Amagi. Before we begin, only 25% of our viewers are subscribed, so if you're a fan of the video, please like and double check if you are subscribed. And with that out of the way, let's get into the video. That night was fresh in his mind. He'd always thought of it. Kakashi couldn't stop thinking about it. It was his new dwelling place in his own mind. That cold blackness in the sky, the sudden flashes, screams, and roars. The inability to do anything. Helplessness. That's what it was. As Kakashi had been dealing with the loss of Obito, he'd thrown himself into his work. Rin, as overzealous as ever, continued to find herself the damsel in distress. She was a sweet girl with a fiery heart who wanted nothing more than to serve her village. She possessed the will of fire to a ludicrous degree, possessing bravery that bordered the line between heroism and stupidity. This caused Kakashi no end of trouble. He had promised Obito, sworn to him, that he'd protect Rin. No matter what, he'd protect her. And he did, until that one day. Once more, Kakashi and Rin were sent behind enemy lines, and just as before, Rin had been captured. Unlike other times though, she was indeed worse for wear. When Kakashi found her, she was unconscious. There was blood, and she looked sick. They had done something to her. What it was, he couldn't be sure, but it made his blood boil. Despite the fact that their mission had not yet been completed, Kakashi opted to abort. Rin wasn't looking good, and he had long since learned that what was most important was the health of your team. Kakashi might have failed the mission if he tried to do it alone. It was going to take a lot of jury rigging just to make it work. It was truly a two-man mission, as the mission required two people to perform a certain action at the same time, something that would have been difficult to do with only one. By the looks of Rin though, her pale complexion, the appearance of blood and wounds, sweat from strain and stress, he knew she likely couldn't go on. The best course of action was swift extraction. If the mission would fail either way, he'd rather it fail with no loss of life, rather than with the needless death of others. And in this way, he would save the one he promised Obito he would protect. So Kakashi rushed off, carrying Rin over his shoulder. Eventually, she managed to come to. She was sore, a little sick, but she quickly regained her ability to move. She insisted that they complete their mission, but considering that Kakashi's Sharingan was picking up some strange signals from her, a second chakra he couldn't pinpoint, he wanted to get her out of there. He had no idea what those shinobi had done to her, but if there were indeed two lives here, one was hers and the other was inside of her, Kakashi had to prioritize extraction. The two of them ran for quite some time before the Kirinin realized she was gone. Despite their head start, it didn't take long for the others to catch up. Rin was still slow due to whatever traumatic experience she had to endure. Eventually, they caught up with them and Kakashi had to fight them off. Rin was in no position to fight, so he commanded her to stay behind him. Raising his forehead protector to expose the Sharingan given to him by Obito, he knew that there was no better time to use it. Obito had given this to him with a promise. In exchange for Kakashi vowing to protect Rin, Obito gave Kakashi this eye. But even with his great foresight, he couldn't have known what was coming next. As he rushed forward with his Chidori, Rin, without warning, threw herself in the way. Kakashi had no time to stop. By the time he'd perceived and begun evasive maneuvers, he'd already pierced her heart. Everything after that was a blur. Kakashi couldn't remember what happened. All he knew was that everyone was dead, and he walked home with a Mangekyo Sharingan. To this day, Kakashi questioned why she did that. He came to realize that she was under a seal. She couldn't end her own life or talk about it. but she had been forced to become the Jinchuriki of the Three Tails against her will. This is why he picked up a second chakra from her. But why did she need to kill herself? If they had known, they could have sealed the Three Tails properly without her needing to die. Maybe she knew something he didn't. Whatever it was, she was dead, and she forced Kakashi to be the one to kill her. As if his trauma wasn't enough already. She had scarred him for life once more. After this, Kakashi threw himself into his work, becoming more and more ruthless. People called him a friend killer, saying that he was just like the Uchiha, that he had stolen their Sharingan, and he had further killed Rin to awaken his Mangekyo in some twisted attempt to include himself into the curse of the Uchiha. Kakashi never explained it to them. He never defended himself. After all, he already felt responsible, and maybe this was his own way of trying to punish himself by letting others slander him. He failed to protect Rin and had brought dishonor to his name, something he had explained to Minato during one of their talks. Minato heard the word dishonor and saw the look in his student's eye. While he never showed it visibly, Minato was about to descend into panic. For certain, if he didn't do something, Kakashi might go the path of his father and end his own life. That's why Minato gave him a special mission. He wanted to restore the meaning of life to Kakashi by letting him trail Kushina. Kushina, being pregnant, was in that lovely liminal space between conception and birth, where life and its beginnings were laid bare. A mysterious, miraculous time where the life of something innocent was about to be born. This wasn't just the origin of new life, but also the origin of all people currently living. Nobody remembered anything before a certain time in their life, but this time was special. The moments when you were in your mother's womb. It was a time celebrated, surrounded by love. He wanted Kakashi to understand that though things were bleak now, the same love, the same value, the same specialness that the unborn baby was being treated with was what Kakashi deserved. Kakashi was surrounded by love, and he needed to allow himself to be open to it, but the fear of loss had closed him off. Kakashi wouldn't allow himself to open up, and the one time Minato told him to give it a shot, Kakashi was once more scarred. Convinced that life deserved a fifth shot, Kakashi opened his heart again. But that so happened to be the day of Naruto's birth, and I'm sure you all remember what happened. Kakashi certainly did. The day the Nine Tails escaped from Kushina. The day Minato died. The darkest day in Konoha's history. The most tragic moment in the history of the village just so happened to be the day Kakashi let his defenses down once again. Now he might never recover. He fought hard, seeking to find Minato and Kushina, to find the baby if it yet lived, to give his very life in defense of the ones he cared for. But alas, village law, orders passed on from Hiruzen, who was acting in place of Minato until Minato could return, had forbidden him from taking place in the battle for the village, despite him being one of the most capable of stopping the beast. The same was true of the Uchiha. They had the best chance of stopping it, but failure to trust them led to the destruction of nearly everything. And in the end, the Uchiha were still blamed, despite never actually getting a fair shake. With the death of the Hokage and the death of the woman Kakashi had taken on as a mother figure, Kakashi's heart was like, no, I'm done, and checked out permanently. He went back to his old habits of killing the feeling by killing everything he could to erase the depression. He put himself into a state of inability to care. But you see, Hiruzen was a wise man, and he understood that Kakashi's brutality was not coming from a place of someone without a heart, but from a place of someone who did have a heart. Kakashi was trying to kill his heart. Most of the time in the Anbu, they brought on people who had no heart. But Kakashi was one of the few brought on who managed to sneak his heart past customs, and was now trying to kill it in order to fit the mold and end his own pain. But Hiruzen refused to let him do this, which is why he pulled him back from active duty for a while. Instead, he called him into his office, and that's where Kakashi was now. "What orders do you have for me?" Kakashi asked, ready to return to killing and serving the village the best he could. "I have a special kind of order. One that doesn't require you leaving the village." Kakashi already seemed skeptical. What kind of mission could be important and be done within the village? Unless, of course, there was secret dissent behind the scenes and Hiruzen needed someone assassinated. The longer he thought on this, the more unlikely he felt it was. Hiruzen wasn't that kind of man. Even when he found out that Danzo was trying to have him killed, instead of killing Danzo in return, he just let him go, without even a slap on the wrist. Hiruzen was too lenient, and so it seemed unlikely that anything he was asked to do here would change the current course of the village. "What are your orders?" Kakashi asked. "What I want you to do is watch a very special person for me. Guard them, if you will." Kakashi was intrigued. "Who will I be guarding? Is the daimyo coming?" Hiruzen shook his head. "No, I want you to watch over Naruto." Kakashi's entire demeanor shuts down immediately. "No," he said. Hiruzen raised a brow. "No? Are you refusing an order from your commanding officer?" Sir, with all due respect, my abilities are beyond simple babysitting. Ask someone else to do it. Sadly, I cannot. Naruto is young, inexperienced, and lacks the power to protect himself. And because of that, a fear has arisen that he might come under the target of others. I'm certain that you're familiar with the events of the Hyuga affair. Kakashi nodded. The heiress of the Hyuga clan, Hinata, was targeted by emissaries of the village hidden in the clouds. Hiyashi killed the offending shinobi attempting to escape with his daughter, and in return, Kumo asked for blood. Hizashi offered his life up to protect his brother. Hiruzen seemed to grow a bit distracted as he thought deeply on his failures. Yep, that's the one, he said simply, trying to push his own self-consciousness from his mind. Well, anyway, you realize the danger that could be posed to Naruto. The Nine-Tails is one of, if not the most powerful tailed beast in the world. Any village would love to get their hands on the Nine-Tails' power and take it for themselves. We cannot allow that. To that end, I'm asking that you please watch Naruto should anyone ever come for him. Kakashi seemed nervous in his expression, and Hiruzen understood why. Deep down, Naruto represented all of the pain and suffering that Kakashi had gone through, and was going to be a continual reminder of everything he had lost. As mean as it sounded, Hiruzen was trying his best to put Kakashi into this position. You see, Hiruzen knew that if he forced Kakashi back into it, Kakashi would be faced with his own pain every day, and it would be unpleasant. But despite that, it offered him a chance forward. If Kakashi wished to really complete his mission, he would need to accept that things were different now. Things had changed, and Kakashi had to change too. If he refused, it would be unhealthy. His friends were gone. But was at no reason. He needed to accept that his friends were gone, but had no reason to close off his heart forever, to enter a self-destructive cycle of killing and being killed just to numb the pain. I know you can do this, Kakashi, Hiruzen said. Don't let me down. Kakashi looked down for a moment and then offered a bit of a bow to accept the mission. As you wish, he said. Kakashi then left the Hokage's office and began his search for the person he was supposed to watch. He eventually found him, Naruto Uzumaki, son of Kushina and Minato, though he could never know that. Naruto could never know the circumstances of his own birth, or who his parents really were, for fear of what he might become. Naruto was a loose cannon, and his power could and would destroy the village if nobody kept a tight lid on it. So maybe there was another reason why Kakashi was chosen for this. Kakashi would not let anyone reveal the truth to him. Like it or not, Naruto was now Kakashi's responsibility, and if Kakashi didn't want to be blamed for the total destruction of the village, he needed to stay on his toes. Maybe Hiruzen was right to choose Kakashi. After all, if anyone could protect Naruto, it was him. And so, Kakashi would sort of just hang outside on the opposite roof, keeping his eye on Naruto. For the most part, Naruto wasn't getting in any trouble. Looking in, he saw the boy doing his own thing, such as looking through his toy box for anything he might wish to play with. He tended to play quite a bit. This kept going for quite some time. Kakashi happened to notice how alone Naruto always seemed to be. There were no friends coming to visit him or anything. At first, Kakashi assumed that Naruto didn't really mind, but then a certain night came where a heavy downpour and thunderstorm came over Konoha. It wasn't a very good night for Kakashi, as he had to remain on that rooftop to keep a watch on Naruto. The most he got was a waterproof hooded cloak. He remained in the elements. Despite this, he was a trooper. He didn't complain. His job wasn't to complain. It was to faithfully carry out the mission. Kakashi sat there as the thunder overhead roared across the black skies at midnight. Despite the time, Naruto was still awake. Normally, he'd be asleep by this time, but the young boy kept his eyes glued to the window from his bed. There was a flash of lightning striking very close by. Kakashi didn't flinch though. Loud sounds and close calls were common on the battlefield, but Naruto, on the other hand, was a different sort. The sound and flash, despite Naruto being safe, caused him to fall out of bed backwards. For a second, Kakashi almost contemplated going over there for fear that he could have broken his neck, but he saw movement, insinuating that Naruto was okay. He continued watching and found that Naruto was now frantically searching through his toy box. Coming back to the bed, he covered himself in a blanket and held tightly to his chest an old doll that Hiruzen had brought to him. That doll was secretly a hand-me-down from Kushina's time as a child, something that they had collected when Minato and Kushina had passed away. Hiruzen had often brought toys to Naruto that his parents used to own in hopes that they would give him some sort of connection. Despite this doll being considered a girl's toy, Naruto really seemed to love it. Every so often, as it looked like Naruto might be close to crying, Kakashi seemed to notice that Naruto would sniff the doll. If he didn't know any better, he might assume one of three things. 1. The doll was scented. 2, Naruto was just weird. Or 3, and most likely considering the age of the doll and who owned it previously, Naruto was attempting to bring himself comfort subconsciously, and the doll would likely have the scent of Kushina on it. Likely, Naruto deep down knew that this doll was special, and due to this, he held it close as a treasure to him for times of comfort. It was at about 3 a.m. the storm finally passed, and by this point, Naruto already seemed to be half asleep. His head bobbing, eventually he collapsed forward in bed, falling asleep. Kakashi let out a sigh. Naruto was probably safe right now. He thought a bit about Naruto and what he had to go through, and began to wonder if Minato knew Naruto would suffer when he sealed the Nine Tails into him. As the days and months passed by, Kakashi continued to follow Naruto, even to the academy. There were kids there, but none seemed to want anything to do with him. Kakashi found it strange. As per the order of Hiruzen, none of these kids were supposed to know that Naruto was the Nine Tails Jinchuriki, so why was he being treated this way? Possibly because parents had told their kids, or was it that Naruto simply didn't want to make friends, or even couldn't? Considering how much time Naruto spent sitting on the swing by himself, Kakashi assumed it was not Naruto's fault. He seemed to try being outgoing, but nobody really seemed to show an interest in him, save for one girl, the heiress of the Hyuga clan's main branch, Hinata Hyuga. The reason being how Naruto had at one time rescued her from the hands of bullies. Naruto didn't have friends, but this didn't mean he wasn't a kind boy deep down. Seeing bullies make fun of her Byakugan, Naruto was quick to intervene, even getting beaten up. Despite that, she said nothing, and Naruto said nothing either. He literally stopped them from bullying her for no other reason than the kindness of his heart. It was in this way that Kakashi realized how similar to Minato Naruto truly was. It was awe-inspiring, to say the least. But why was it that the little Hyuga girl remained so distant? It was obvious that she liked him and wanted to be his friend, so why hide? Was she too nervous? Was she too shy? Kakashi began to question why he was getting so involved in schoolyard politics. He assumed that the boring nature of this job had left his mind craving literally anything to break the monotony, and so it seemed he had begun to treat this like some sort of baby soap opera. Kakashi couldn't help but get drawn in by the drama. After all, it seemed like such a cleaner version of his favorite novels. He loved it, but not everything was going to remain boring forever. One day, on his way home from school, Naruto would stumble into something that shouldn't have happened. Now, it wasn't Naruto's fault what happened to him, but nobody else would see it that way, and the actions taken on this particular day were the remnants of the toxic hatred that couldn't simply be defeated by an order from the Hokage. It was a day Kakashi would never forget, because it was the end of something old and the beginning of something new. As Naruto was walking home one day, he heard a voice call out to him. Stopping, he looked around and began to follow the voice down some random alleyway. What's he doing? Kakashi wondered. As Naruto traveled down that alleyway, there was a sudden ruckus that began. Kakashi began to wonder what had happened. Had he run into a dog? Some rabid animal? Perhaps a pit bull trained for fighting and abandoned? Kakashi rushed over with his kunai ready, prepared to kill whatever animal could be assaulting the boy. That was until he saw not the eyes of some beast, but the hateful eyes of men. A group of men had taken it upon themselves to try and rid Konoha of the greatest threat that ever came upon it, Naruto. Kakashi saw one of them pull a knife from behind their back. "Hey!" he shouted, drawing their attention as he threw a shuriken, knocking the knife from the man's hand. The group of men, terrified at seeing a real Anbu agent, turned tail and ran, making their way out of the alley in the opposite direction before promptly scattering. There were so many of them. They knew that by scattering, Kakashi would be unable to catch all of them. They'd be wrong about that, as Kakashi immediately summoned shadow clones to give chase. Each of the men was brought to justice, which was a good thing, but all the same, they had really messed up Naruto. Kakashi looked down to see Naruto laying among the trash and garbage, his body torn and bloody, bruised from the attack. He lay in a puddle of water among the refuse of the trash cans as if his life were meaningless, as if his existence meant nothing. Kakashi's anger was kindled against the people of the village in this moment. This boy wasn't some monster, but a mere child who didn't understand why nobody loved him. "Is something wrong with me?" Naruto had often questioned. "Did I do something wrong? Am I ugly? Is it because I have yellow hair?" Naruto questioned all of these things in the past and had done so much to change their minds. This Kakashi stood witness to. Naruto had been sure to brush his teeth, to shower good, to comb his hair and dress as best he could. There was even a woman across the street from his apartment that he decided to bring flowers to in hopes of making a friend. Perhaps due to that woman's age, Naruto was hoping that she could take the place of a mother. Perhaps this was Naruto's pitch at being adopted. Perhaps Naruto were simply auditioning to prove he could be a good son. After all, who could deny the charm of a suave 5-year-old with flowers? It was adorable. But upon presenting his best to the woman, she swatted the flowers away, tossing them as if they were some sort of offense to her. Naruto's heart shattered when he saw that. All the while, Kakashi was watching. She cursed him, spat upon him, told him that it would have been better if he'd never been born. By the looks of those around him, who had gathered to watch him fail at seeking a friend, they all judged him, saying that he was harassing the woman because he was a perverted little demon. After that, Naruto never tried to befriend an adult again, and now they'd taken it a step too far. The young boy who had sought only to be accepted and loved now lay broken in the mud and water, his wounds dirtied by the garbage around. Nobody cared. He could be dying here, and the only ones who would know would be Kakashi and the angels that came to scoop up his little soul. No, Kakashi wouldn't let it end here. This was his job. This was his mission. Screw those people. Screw the evil hearts around. Perhaps they had let the pain caused by the Nine-Tails corrupt them, and if they felt pain, maybe that was okay. But what wasn't okay was for them to treat Naruto this way. A mere child in emotional and now physical pain, left to die due to their neglect and anger that he did not deserve. Kakashi pulled Naruto up from the ground, pulling the boy's limp body into his embrace. Turning around, he leapt from the scene, heading toward the only place he knew Naruto could rest without feeling the ire-filled gaze of those around him. Home. Entering the apartment, he laid the boy down upon the bed and looked him over. He was wounded. His face was bloody and bruised by the fists of hatred. Kakashi couldn't leave it like this. He knew that if he were not careful, infection would set in and it could lead to Naruto's untimely passing. But Kakashi had some medical skill. Learning the basics of field medicine from Rin during their time under Minato, Kakashi put his skills to work, grabbing gauze, bandages, and rags. He filled the bowl with warm water and prepared to use it on Naruto. But the moment he re-entered the room, he saw Naruto was no longer on the bed. He was in the corner, clutching tight the doll he'd often used for comfort. He heard sniffling and saw tears. "Please, don't kill me," Naruto said, his big blue eyes filled with pleading. "I don't know what I did, but I'm sorry. Please, I don't want to die." Kakashi knelt down and put his things on the ground. "I'm not going to hurt you," he said. But this obviously didn't get through to Naruto. Kakashi crawled a bit closer to the boy, only to see him shaking violently with fear. Kakashi reached out his hand to calm Naruto, but Naruto probably saw this like some claw of a monster. Kakashi pulled his hand away from Naruto. "I'm not here to hurt you," Kakashi said. "Then why are you wearing a ski mask?" Naruto said. "You look like a murderer." Kakashi couldn't argue with that. He did look like a murderer, but maybe that's because he was. Kakashi, during his time in the Anbu, had killed many people. A lot of people who had been a threat, but were neutralized, seeking quarter. Kakashi ended their lives as easily as a man snuffing out the flame of a candle. Kakashi was a murderer, so Naruto's guess was right. But all the same, Kakashi was not here to kill him. He was here to protect the boy. He wanted to bring Naruto peace and to calm him. So Kakashi reached up with his gloved hand and gripped the mask around his face. He slowly pulled it down to expose his visage. "Maybe this is better?" he asked, showing his gentle smile. Naruto looked at it out of the corner of his eye. Kakashi held out his hand in a non-threatening way. "Don't worry, I wish to help you." It was clear that Naruto had trust issues, and he had every right to, but this was something Naruto needed, so Kakashi hoped Naruto would take it, else Kakashi might have to sedate Naruto to clean his wounds. He really didn't want to have to do that. Naruto had been through so much, and despite how young he was, Kakashi feared that any more terror might cause the boy to have a heart attack. His heart was already pounding so fast that Kakashi's Sharingan could see in it his chakra. Naruto looked at Kakashi's exposed face and then down at his hand. He noticed the supplies that Kakashi had. He reached out his hand and took it. Kakashi was happy. "Don't be afraid, Naruto. You'll be okay." Sitting Naruto up on his bed, Kakashi began to examine him for wounds. Finding every laceration, he cleaned it off with water to remove any dirt or grime before applying alcohol. It wasn't pleasant for Naruto, who seemed to choke back tears. "You're being very brave," Kakashi said. Thankfully, none of the lacerations were deep enough to merit stitches. Once he had Naruto all cleaned up, he got Naruto a new outfit and gave him privacy to change into it. "Are you okay?" Kakashi asked. He checked Naruto's pupils for dilation. Thankfully, it seemed he did not have a concussion. "You okay?" Kakashi asked again. Naruto nodded slowly. "Just sleepy," he said with a bit of a slur. "I bet you are. You've had a very tiring day." Naruto looked over at Kakashi for a moment. "Who are you?" he asked. It was a simple, flat question. Kakashi remembered that he never really did introduce himself. "My name is Kakashi. Kakashi Hatake. I'm an Anbu agent, sent here to protect you." "To protect me?" Naruto asked. Kakashi knew he couldn't really explain it to him, but he knew the boy would seek some sort of answer, so Kakashi gave it to him, even if it was a little vague. Mr. Hiruzen told me you were always alone, and he said he was afraid that you'd get into trouble. He told me to watch you and make sure you were okay. Are you okay? Naruto nodded. Kakashi smiled and then raised his mask. Then my job here is done. He stood and readied to leave. Before he could go, Naruto reached out. Wait. Kakashi looked back. Yes? Where are you going? Naruto asked. Back to my post. Please, don't leave me, he said. Kakashi stopped, caught a little off guard. You don't have to worry. I won't be far. I'll always be nearby to protect you. Please, I don't want to be alone again, Naruto said as new tears seemed to take up residence in the corners of his eye. Are you afraid that those men will come back? You don't have to be. I caught them. No, I'm not afraid of that, Naruto said. Then what are you scared of? I don't want to go back to being alone. Not tonight. Please, don't go. He was slowly getting more and more worked up. He sounded like one more sentence might cause him to burst into tears. Kakashi looked down upon him with compassion. His heart now demanded that he do as the boy pleaded. After all, he was Kakashi's charge, and Kakashi was here to serve him. If Naruto begged him to stay with him, how could Kakashi refuse? He was here to look after the well-being of the boy, and perhaps that extended beyond the physical limitations and into the emotional ones. Pulling his mask down, he knelt by the bed again. All right, I'll stay over for the night, just to make sure you're comfortable. But tomorrow morning, I need to go, okay? Deal? Naruto nodded. Deal. During this time, Kakashi remained nearby as Naruto rested. He closed the blinds as the overcast skies descended into a depressing gray, the day coming to an end, night rolling in. Are you hungry, Naruto? Kakashi asked. Naruto shook his head. Oh, come now, Kakashi said. You can't be like that. You gotta eat. If you don't eat, you'll get sick. So tell me, if there was anything you'd like to eat right now, what would it be? I want ramen. Shin black. Bone broth. Kakashi chuckled. Awfully specific for someone not hungry. Naruto offered a smile. Kakashi went and made 2 bowls of ramen, bringing one to Naruto and keeping the other for himself. They ate together and exchanged stories. Naruto would pull out a journal that contained all the dreams he could remember upon waking up. Quite a few were bad dreams. One saw him trapped in a void of liminal spaces, each room the size of a warehouse. Another dream saw him being chased by a monster through the village at night, only for his legs to keep going out from under him, or his speed being incredibly decreased. Sometimes both. A couple dreams saw him falling far distances from really high, or being smothered by something, like being buried alive. But bad dreams weren't the only ones Naruto had. Sometimes he had dreams where he was a superhero. This dream was recurring, and it was the dream Naruto was most excited about Kakashi reading about. It saw him as some superpowered ninja with the ability to fly and shoot infinitely regenerating shuriken that were magical and always hit whatever they were aiming for. He said that he always fought a villain that held the village captive in fear, and that he always defeated it, and everyone would cheer his name and celebrate. He said it was his favorite dream, besides the one on the next page. Kakashi flipped the page and read about it. This dream was also recurring, though it seemed to be less frequent compared to the others. In this dream, he dreamed that he was in the arms of someone very special to him, who he could only assume was his mother. She would rock him back and forth and smother him with hugs. Kakashi was no psychologist, but it seemed a recurring theme of Naruto's dreams was loneliness and the desire to be loved. And why wouldn't it be? Naruto was all alone. These dreams broke Kakashi's heart. As the night passed, he looked at Naruto as the boy slept soundly, the doll clenched close in his arms. Kakashi stayed close that night, not leaving the side of the bed until the sun rose. As per their deal, Kakashi knew he could now leave. Looking over at Naruto's face one more time to make sure he was okay, he determined that Naruto's wounds would heal all by themselves. Standing up, Kakashi prepared to head home to grab a little rest before his next shift started, but the strangest feeling took hold of him as he grabbed the door to the apartment. A sort of sadness, a feeling of sorrow. So Kakashi walked back in for a moment and grabbed a piece of paper. Dear Naruto, he wrote, I had so much fun sleeping over with you. You're a really cool dude. Maybe one day we can do it again. If so, I'll be sure to bring a new brand of ramen that I'm sure you'll love. I'll also bring some games and movies to enjoy. I'll be sure to call every once in a while and we'll write you often. He then signed it, your friend, Kakashi. He left this on the refrigerator for Naruto to read, and then he headed home. The next few days went swell. Naruto had become more aware, keeping his eyes out for Kakashi. And now that he knew he was always watching him, he would always get real close to the window and make funny faces toward the other roof. This coaxed a chuckle or two out of Kakashi. He would wave at Kakashi and Kakashi would wave back. Maybe it would blow his cover a little, but how could he not wave at Naruto? All the while, below, Hiruzen was watching with a smile. Everything was going according to plan. Kakashi began doing more than just watching Naruto. He began to hang out with him quite a bit. They'd hang around, watch movies, play games, and just enjoy each other's company. This had a profound impact on Naruto's life. Now that he always had his guardian angel around, he knew that he'd be safe, and due to having one true good friend, he no longer seemed to be upset when others didn't want to be his friend. Adults would snap at him, but Naruto let it roll off his back. He didn't have to worry about what others thought. Naruto knew now that his life had value, it had meaning, and there would be someone very sad if he were to be gone. So whenever the cruel villagers told him his life was meaningless and that it would be better if he'd never been born, he would simply smile and tell them to kindly go piss themselves. Naruto's life was worthwhile. Someone cared about it, and so it was better that he'd been born. His existence seemed to help somebody with a troubled past. Naruto had asked in the past about Kakashi's history, but Kakashi always kept a tight lid on it, and very rarely talked about it. Naruto knew so very little about his best friend, but that was okay. He didn't need to know about him. All he needed to know was that he was happy to have him now, and Naruto doubted very seriously that anything Kakashi could have done in the past could change his mind. Naruto was that desperate for love, or perhaps just that loyal. Either way, Naruto didn't question Kakashi's past. All he knew was that Kakashi had lost all of his friends and was lonely now too, and that was sad. But something that Naruto had always thought about was that if every lonely person in the world, and every person desperate for love, attention, and a good friend who would appreciate them were to get together in one place, would loneliness not cease to exist? If two people were lonely, then they should comfort one another. In doing so, they would no longer be lonely, which was apparently what Naruto and Kakashi were doing with each other. Naruto was pleased to have a friend like Kakashi, someone like an uncle, like an older brother. While Naruto didn't have a mom or dad, he did have Kakashi, and he had Hiruzen. Slowly, little by little, Naruto was filling out his family tree, and his mood had soared to new heights, to places it had never been before. That night, Kakashi came to visit Naruto. It had become a bit of a habit for Kakashi to simply forego the rooftop across from Naruto and instead simply have a sleepover. Hiruzen had approved of such a thing, saying it would be good for both of them on various levels, and it would also help Kakashi keep a closer eye on him. To that end, during the day before his arrival, Kakashi had done something he'd rarely done before, and had bought himself a gaming console. Kakashi was not much of a gamer. He didn't care for video games. When your life was continually war to no end, there was no need for action. Instead, you tended to try and drown your sorrows and trauma in ways of relaxing, preferably the kind that didn't force you to fall asleep. That's why Kakashi had become a bit of a bibliophile. He enjoyed reading, and the best things he had ever read were the works of a man named Jiraiya. Though the novels were a bit spicy and went over quite a few things that no kid should ever read, it also included some other story elements that Kakashi found to be hilarious. To that end, while he had read many books, the only books he ever seemed to read continuously, over and over on loop, were the Icha Icha novels. It seemed as though these novels were built for someone like Kakashi, as the writer seemed to understand the need for an escape, especially when the past continued to crawl up from the grave you kept trying to bury it in. It acknowledged the idea of being a shinobi, but it gave newer context, as the book insinuated being a shinobi wasn't always about fighting. It was also about finding oneself. It focused on the ninja way. That was Kakashi's preferred form of entertainment, but he knew he couldn't share that with Naruto. Naruto was still a bit too young to know the kinds of things that happened in that book, so he thought of something else, better to do with him. That's where this console he was now carrying came into play. A nice racing game like Hashirama Card, or Super Minato 64, or Tobirama Party 3 would be a blast. And the idea of leaving the console with Naruto for him to enjoy also brought a smile to Kakashi's face. This was mostly for Naruto anyway. Entering the apartment of Naruto, he surprised the boy with the new gaming console, to which Naruto's eyes lit up at the prospect of all the fun they would have. And so, with Naruto nearby giving moral support, mostly because he wasn't entirely sure how to hook such a system up, Kakashi did most of the technical stuff. But once the system was in, they fired it up. Despite Naruto not really playing video games very much, he showed himself very capable and seemed to win every match. This surprised Kakashi, whose reaction time was even aided by the Sharingan in at least one race. Naruto just seemed to have frame-perfect movements, leading to Kakashi's suspicion that Naruto had played this before. But the true answer was simply that Naruto was good at video games, and Kakashi was not. Kakashi might have had the Sharingan, but that didn't mean his body could react to everything he saw. The simple truth was Kakashi needed to get good if he wanted to win. After playing almost all night long, Kakashi stretched and yawned. Well, that was fun. I think it's time for bed now. Oh, come on, one more game? Naruto asked. Kakashi chuckled and ruffled Naruto's hair. Sorry, kiddo, I'm beat, both in and out of the game. I think we can call it for now. But hey, you can play as much as you want tomorrow. I'll leave the console here when I leave. That way, we can have more fun the next time I stay. When will you come back? Naruto asked. Tomorrow? Kakashi shook his head. No, tomorrow will be someone else's turn at guard duty. They'll be outside the window where I used to be, but I'll be back the day after tomorrow. Sound good? Naruto seemed a little sad. Tenzo's nice, but he's not as friendly as you. Kakashi offered a new smile. Tenzo's a good guy. He's a part of my team. I'm glad he's offered to cover my shift tomorrow. I have chores that I gotta do back at my house, but hey, it's only 48 hours. Less if you consider that I'll get here sooner, so probably closer to like 42 hours from now. So set a timer or something. It'll help the time go faster. Not to mention you have my phone number. You can always text if you get lonely. Can't promise I'll respond right away, but I'll text back when I get the chance. Okay, Naruto said, a bit of sadness in his voice. This brought a bittersweet air to the night. Kakashi brushed his teeth beside Naruto, who did the same. He then helped Naruto get into bed. There, he covered Naruto up. Naruto seemed a little down in the dumps. Will you still be here tomorrow when I wake up? Kakashi shook his head. Probably not. I gotta get a head start on the day. Then it's goodbye, I guess. Kakashi grabbed the doll Naruto seemed to favor. Holding it in his hands, he examined it. In the hem of its skirt, the letters KU were stitched in. What did you name this little doll? Ku, Naruto said, apparently sounding out the letters. KU as if they weren't initials. Ku, huh? That's a very cute name. She's very special to you. Yeah, I love all my toys, but she's the one that brings me the most comfort, he said. Why? Kakashi asked. I don't know, Naruto said. Kakashi knew why though, and it brought a smile to his face. It had been some time since he had thought about Kushina, but the way he viewed her like a mother and was now so close to Naruto, it truly did solidify their bond as brotherly. Well, this doll is very special indeed, he said as he handed it over to Naruto. Naruto hugged it tightly as Kakashi tucked him in. Maybe I'll wake you up tomorrow so we can say goodbye before I go. Would you like that? Naruto nodded. Kakashi pushed some of the messy hair out of Naruto's face. Then that's what I'll do. Good night, Naruto. Naruto let off a small smile, just like that of the Mona Lisa, barely noticeable, quite melancholic, yet proof of a happiness that had taken root in spite of the blue spirit he was now taking on. Good night, big brother. I love you. It felt as though an arrow went right through Kakashi's heart when Naruto said that. Kakashi leaned in, kissed Naruto's forehead, and said, Good night, lil bro. He then closed the door behind him before making his way to the couch where he laid down. Grabbing a pillow and a blanket, he proceeded to go to sleep. He was so attached to Naruto now, and despite the fact that this made him happy, he couldn't help but fear. He felt so vulnerable now. Every time he opened his heart, something happened. An uneasy feeling came over him. A what-if scenario playing out in his mind, reminding him of all the times he failed to save the people he loved. Kakashi felt like bad luck. Anytime he got close enough to someone to admit that he loved them, they suffered a horrible fate and scarred Kakashi for life. What if Naruto ended up... Kakashi shook his head, trying to push the thought from his mind. As he laid there, he began to fall asleep. The next morning, Kakashi awakened. The sun was just rising. He had only gotten about 5 hours of sleep, but that was standard for him. His body didn't seem to require more than that. It was recommended by doctors to get anywhere between 7 minimum to 9 maximum hours of sleep a night, but Kakashi seemed to be doing well with this. Shinobi had ways of coping. Perhaps he had just trained himself to skip REM sleep and go straight into the third stage of NREM quicker. Due to this, he sacrificed vivid memories for more abstract and rare dreams, but in the end, it resulted in his body getting what it needed more quickly and in a shorter amount of time, which to him was perfect. Upon waking up, he considered not telling Naruto, but then felt as though he should due to his promise. So after brushing his teeth and cleaning up, readying himself for the day, he walked into Naruto's room and gently nudged the boy. Naruto turned over to face him and yawned before opening his eyes. Hi, Kashi, he said with a groggy smile. "Hello, Naruto," Kakashi said. "I'm headed off now and just wanted to tell you to have a good day. Remember, if you ever need me, I'm just a phone call away." "Okay." Kakashi ruffled the boy's hair with a smile. He then stood and turned around and left the apartment. As he left, though, a man in the distance watched. A tiger stripe pattern mask covered his face and hid it from view. "So, this is the one who bears the nine tails, and where he lives," he said to himself. Interesting. Interesting indeed. Kakashi used the day to recover himself. While he loved spending time with Naruto, sometimes it was nice to just have time to yourself. He cleaned his apartment, made sure to catch up on bills and tax preparedness, and made sure that all the deductibles were put into an envelope with the year printed on it. He visited the bank, did a little grocery shopping, and otherwise just did what he needed. Naruto never did text, and Kakashi assumed that this was because he didn't want to disturb him. Kakashi would spend his time at home from that point on and would end up going to bed early that night, as he hoped to start his shift to watch Naruto early the next day, wanting to make sure he caught up on all the sleep he needed. The next day, Kakashi got up and at about 3 p.m. decided to head out. He called in an order of food and picked it up. It was his and Naruto's favorite meal. "This should lift spirits," he said, referring to the time they were separated. Heading to Naruto's apartment, he opened the door. "Naruto, I'm back," he called out. There was no response. "Naruto?" It was dark in there, like no one had opened the blinds. Don't tell me he's still sleeping. What a lazy bones, sleeping into 3 p.m. like this. Kakashi would continue to judge if he hadn't been accused of doing the same thing on his days off. Placing the food on the table, he switched on the lights. The moment he did so, he looked around and found the living room to be ransacked. "Naruto?" Kakashi asked with a slight bit of panic. Stepping over the messy house, he began to check all of the rooms, finding them empty. Lastly, he entered Naruto's bedroom to find it empty as well. All that remained was a broken window where it seemed someone had entered or escaped through. "Naruto!" Kakashi cried out through the window, hoping to get a response. Traveling to the roof opposite, he found Tenzo, hogtied. Undoing the gag in his mouth, he asked him straight, "What's going on?" "There was a guy," Tenzo said. "He had a mask. I looked into it and saw a single eye staring back at me. A Sharingan. Somehow, there's an Uchiha out there." "You think it was Itachi?" Kakashi asked. Tenzo, now completely untied, spoke. "No, I worked with Itachi too. There would be no reason to hide his face, nor any reason to change his voice. I felt like this was a different guy entirely, but he could be similar. A rogue shinobi." "There are no missing nin Uchiha," Kakashi said. "It's possible this guy wasn't even an Uchiha. Maybe he stole a Sharingan during the war. Whatever it was, that was the kind of guy who took Naruto." This was reported to Hiruzen, who began to suspect that it might have been the same one who was responsible for Kushina and Minato's deaths. "Then we suspected the Uchiha for nothing," Kakashi said, realizing that the coup planned by the Uchiha due to their mistreatment was somewhat justifiable now. "We need to rescue him," Kakashi said. "I know, Kakashi, but the issue is we have no leads. We don't know where Naruto is. He could be anywhere. Don't you have a way to track him? What about his 8 trigram seal? Did you not consider adding a tracking seal to it? We didn't put the seal on him. Minato did. And due to the power of the Nine Tails and the threat it posed to the village, we didn't want to risk messing up the seal by altering it." Kakashi rubbed his face. "I know you care for the boy, but you have to think clearly, Kakashi. If you're not level-headed, you'll be of no use to us or Naruto." "I can't do this again, Lord Third," Kakashi said. "I lost my mother before I even had the chance to know her. Then I lost my father, then my team. I've lost so many people and had my heart rent open more times than I should be able to survive. I can't lose Naruto." Hiruzen put his hand on Kakashi's shoulders. "We are working around the clock to find a lead, Kakashi. Just be patient. We'll come up with something. Go home and rest." Kakashi tried to do just that, but found himself unable to. He couldn't sleep for anything, and so he decided to spend his time at Naruto's apartment, as if maybe being there he might be able to feel better about this, but he didn't. Entering Naruto's room, he saw that the doll was left on the bed. Kakashi picked it up and looked down at it. "Minato, Kushina, please forgive me. I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best to protect him. I love him as you would have, but I'm not good enough." "You're plenty good," a voice came to him. An internal voice, as if the voices of Minato and Kushina were speaking inside of his mind. Was it really their spirits, or was it his guilty conscience trying its best to remind Kakashi that he wasn't at fault for this? Either way, it didn't help much. "You know, yellow is such an unusual hair color," one of the voices inside his head said. Once, when Kushina was kidnapped, she had pulled bits of her own hair out and left a trail. Kakashi remembered when he heard this story from Minato. Perhaps the memory was only coming up now because he was thinking about them. "I wonder how similar Naruto is to his mother," the voice said. Suddenly, it hit Kakashi like a truck. What if Naruto did start leaving a trail of hair to lead him to the enemy's secret lair? Raising his forehead protector a bit to expose his Sharingan, he looked around. The window seemed to have a single golden hair wrapped around one of the shards of glass. There was also a little bit of blood. Somebody nicked themselves on the glass and were bleeding. Following the trail out, he wandered the rooftops again and saw more blood and hair making a longer trail. Kakashi's heart began to race as he knew there was a chance that he could still find Naruto. Naruto, still in his pajamas, had been carried off and was now brought to rest within a cave where he'd been tossed into a cage. Locked up, Naruto stood and walked over to the bars. "Who are you? Why are you doing this to me?" "Because you have something I want, and I will have it before I'm through with you. My big brother Kakashi will save me. You're doomed. You better say your prayers, because he's gonna come and smush ya." The masked man laughed a bit. "That failure of a shinobi you call a friend. Give me a break. Nobody's coming for you, kid. You just gotta accept the facts." "You're wrong. Kakashi promised he'd always protect me." The masked man turned back to face Naruto, his glowing red eye gazing into the boy's soul. Naruto felt intimidated by this and took a few steps back. The masked man knelt down and spoke. "Kakashi promised you, huh? Well, don't expect him to keep it. He's a pathological liar. He makes a lot of promises, and they always turn out bad. You're not the first person he promised to always protect, and that person is laying dead in a ditch somewhere right now because of his failure. In fact, he had promised to protect her, and instead it was his hand that killed her. Kakashi's promises aren't worth the spittle that gets absorbed into his cheesy mask every time he makes them." "You're wrong. Kakashi would never lie to me," Naruto said. "Are you so sure?" the masked man asked. "He's already lied to you." Naruto seemed confused. "What do you mean?" The man let the moment remain silent to bring about a new gravity to his words. "For so many years, you never knew what you were, why you were hated. You don't even understand why I want you now." Naruto looked at the man with cautious skepticism. The man continued, "It's because sealed within you is the nine-tailed demon fox that ravaged the village 5 years ago. The very day of your birth, the Nine-Tails escaped your mother and went on a rampage. Your father sealed it away at the cost of his own life, and now everyone blames you for the damage and death caused by the Nine-Tails." Naruto seemed confused. "Oh, so you don't actually know who your parents are. It seems Kakashi really has told you nothing." Obito paused, letting the moment build more anticipation. "Your father was the 4th Hokage, Minato Namikaze, and your mother was the previous Jinchuriki, Kushina Uzumaki." "Ku," Naruto said, finally realizing what the embroidered letters on the hem of his favorite doll were. "Kakashi knew about this?" Naruto asked. "Everyone knows about this. From Hiruzen to Kakashi to every villager who gives you the skunk eye. Everyone knows. Everyone but you. Kakashi knew the whole time who you were and where you came from, because he was a member of your father's Genin team." Naruto was shocked. "No, that's not true." "It is. Your Kakashi is probably one of the few people who truly knew who Minato Namikaze was. And despite this, Kakashi probably could have saved your parents, but instead he let them die. He failed them the same way he failed his teammates." "You're lying," Naruto shouted. "How would you know who my parents are or any of this stuff?" Naruto asked. The masked man then spoke. "I know who your parents are because I killed them. I am responsible for the life you now live. I stole from you the life you could have had, and now I will take from you the only life you know. I will have that Nine-Tails within you, and when I take it from you, I will leave your body to rot just the same as I did with your parents." Naruto was overwhelmed as he fell on his rear, staring at the man in disbelief. There was too much to process. Naruto didn't know if he even could. All he knew was that he was in tremendous pain, and he didn't know what to do with it. Kakashi is the reason that I live like this?" "Perhaps that's the only reason he became your friend," the masked man said. "He pitied you. He ruined your life. Maybe that's why he did this. Either way, it's over now. And you can thank him for that. Much like with everyone else, he wasn't there. He was unable to stop me from taking you, and now, you're mine." Obito stood. "I'll bring you something to eat soon. You need to be strong so you can survive until I manage to take that Nine-Tails from you." The masked man walked away. Kakashi had made his way to the cave entrance. Looking out, he wondered if this was where Naruto was being kept. The trail of hair and blood had led him here. His shuriken holster strapped to his leg, Tonto on his back, Kakashi slowly began to enter the cave. His Sharingan still exposed, he scanned the room for any sort of traps. There were a few that he could have stumbled into had he not had his Sharingan active. Most of these traps, though, were the noise-making kind, designed not to maim Kakashi, but instead alert the masked man that someone had entered his secret lair. Kakashi made his way deeper in, and witnessed in the distance a cage where Naruto sat, looking at the ground with a sort of 1,000-yard stare. "Psst, Naruto." Naruto! Kakashi called out. Naruto raised his eyes to meet Kakashi's. Kakashi raised his finger to his lips. Shh, I'm here to get you out. Don't make any noise. Kakashi walked over stealthily and pulled out a lock-picking kit which would allow him to open the lock on the cage. Sticking in the instruments, he began to press down on the pins before opening the lock. Once the lock was off, he opened the cage and scooped Naruto up onto his back. Let's get out of here, Kakashi said as he began to leave the cage. Not long after, the masked man would discover that Naruto had escaped. Kakashi, he said, immediately knowing the only person who could have made it past his traps. In the forest nearby, Kakashi led them off. Under cover of night, they knew that they could probably find cover. This was the first thing Kakashi decided to do. Sitting Naruto down, he began to look him over. You're not hurt, are you? I saw blood on the glass shards. Was that yours? Naruto shook his head. No. Kakashi sighed with relief. That's good. You don't look hurt, but tell me if something feels different. Is it true? Naruto asked. Is what true? Kakashi questioned. Naruto looked like he had tears building up in his eyes. Did you really know who and what I was all along? Did you really know who my parents were? Kakashi let out a troubled sigh and looked down. You did know. You knew all along, and you lied to me about it, Naruto said, slowly getting more and more worked up. Naruto had only ever felt that he had one friend, and right now, he was feeling betrayed by that friend. Naruto, there's a lot of complicated stuff, and there are reasons why I didn't tell you. Did you only hang out with me because you pitied me? No, Kakashi said. Then only because it was a job? Was anything real? Were we ever actually friends? Tears began to run down Naruto's cheeks. Kakashi wiped away a tear with his thumb as he lovingly held the side of Naruto's head. Yes, Naruto, I can promise you it was real. Kakashi began to explain the truth to him. I knew your father. I loved him. He was a pillar to me when I was going through a lot of tough times. Friends I'd promised I'd always protect ended up dead because of my failures. I never wanted to die so much in my life, but your father got me through it. He gave me a job to protect his pregnant wife. And I did so, faithfully, until the day came that she was to give birth. And the baby she gave birth to was you, but I wasn't there. I had been called away on duty, and when I finally got back, the Nine Tails was escaping. I wanted to fight it, but I was told Hiruzen had ordered every shinobi under a certain age to flee. I tried to buck against the rule, but they left me no choice. Even then, I wish I had gone. Maybe I could have saved them, Kakashi said as he looked away. One of my greatest regrets in life. My failure cost the lives of my friends. My failure cost the lives of your parents. And my failures are the reason why you're the host of the demon fox who killed them. Kakashi almost looked as though he would cry. I am filled with so much shame. It's because of me that your life is hell. And what's worse, I wasn't even there for you growing up. I only joined up when Hiruzen told me about the job. I didn't even want it at first, but as I began to ghost you, following you around, I started to understand how important you were, and worse, what you didn't have. When you were beaten and left to die, I knew I had to do something. I couldn't let my master's son, the child born by the woman I considered a mother, to die. So I took care of you, and the longer I spent with you, the happier I became. The more I began to realize that I was okay, and that it was okay to feel again. You changed my life, Naruto, so I promise you, I promise, everything we did together, all the great times we spent, the things we shared, our friendship, it was all real, every last bit of it. A tear began to trail down Kakashi's face. Naruto reached out and wiped it away with his thumb. I understand, Kakashi. I still love you. You're still my big brother. Kakashi hugged Naruto closely. I love you, little brother, he said. They embraced there for a time. That was until a voice spoke from behind. How touching. Naruto's eyes were filled with concern as he looked on. Kakashi slowly turned around to see the masked man standing there, holding a katana. Kakashi pulled his tanto from behind him and pushed Naruto away. Naruto, I need you to run. Run where? Anywhere. Just get away from here. I'll hold him off, but I need you to escape, okay? Naruto nodded. Now go, Kakashi shouted. Naruto ran off into the woods. The masked man turned to see, only for Kakashi to jump between him and Naruto. You're not getting past me, Kakashi said. The man scoffed. You say that as if you genuinely believe you can stop me. I won't let you touch Naruto, Kakashi said. Then by all means, try and stop me. The two began to face off against each other. Their blades clashed. Despite Kakashi's prowess in wielding blades like this one, the masked man had an advantage, as his blade was longer. Despite these things, Kakashi did manage to get through the man's defenses and strike at him, only for his blade and his whole body to phase right through him, as if it were nothing. Predictable. As Naruto ran, he stopped and thought about it. What if Kakashi can't win? He looked back. what if Kakashi dies? The thought was enough to make Naruto want to start crying. He blinked away his tears as his eyes were filled with determination. No, I won't let him. I'll protect him. Naruto began running back toward the battle. As Kakashi laid there on the ground, the masked man stood above him with his katana. So foolish, Kakashi. It's too bad it has to end this way. You know my name? Kakashi questioned. It doesn't matter now. It's just sad that you'll have to die such an anticlimactic death, but oh well. Live in the spotlight, die in anonymity. If only all of us could be so lucky. He went to strike Kakashi down, but instead, Naruto, utilizing his tailed beast cloak, jumped onto his back and began clawing at his mask, biting the man on the shoulder. The man let out a cry and began to reach back. Gripping Naruto by the collar, he threw him against a tree, knocking him silly. That being said though, Naruto managed to rip the man's mask off. He turned back to Kakashi, whose face bore complete and utter surprise. Obito, the man smiled. In the flesh. But how did you survive? Kakashi asked. It's a story I've told many times. Too many times. How I survived no longer matters, only that I did. What are you doing? Kakashi asked. Cleaning up your mistakes, Obito said. I don't understand. Obito then spoke. You failed me. You failed Rin. Because of your actions, she's dead now. Gone from me forever. I never had the chance to really tell her how I felt. I never got a chance at love because, like everything else, you took it from me. I didn't take anything, Obito. I tried to preserve it. And you failed. Miserably. Like everything else you do, you failed miserably, Obito shouted. I still don't understand. What does this have to do with Naruto? There's a lot you don't understand. Just know that me taking this beast will allow me to accomplish the things you failed. It will let me achieve what I so desire. And what is that? Kakashi asked. To have Rin back. But you know what will happen if you take the tailed beast from that boy, don't you? Obito nodded. He will die, but I see it as a small price to pay. One unwanted child in exchange for a perfect world. Seems like a fair trade to me. He's not unwanted, Kakashi yelled. Oh, did I strike a nerve there? Listen, Kakashi. You're the only person in the world who actually cares for the life of this twerp. And when I kill you, he will be unwanted. I don't know what's happened to you, Obito, but I won't allow you to push your hatred of me onto Naruto. Don't worry, I don't need to push my hatred of you onto him. I have enough hatred to go around. Obito began to swing his katana at Kakashi. Kakashi blocked and dodged. As he swung his blade at Obito, his blade passed right through without so much as a scratch. How Obito did this was the question though. As Kakashi struck through him again, he noticed that Obito activated his Mangekyo Sharingan to do it. That's when it hit him. He's using his eye to phase his body through it. He's phasing into a different dimension when he does this. That's when Kakashi came up with his plan. If I do that at the same time I attack, maybe I can undo his and strike him down. Kakashi kept pushing back against Obito. Obito was very strong, and even though he had a large katana, Kakashi was quicker. He went in for another attack. Obito tried to phase through, but Kakashi phased the edge of his blade, which allowed it to go through, slicing Obito. Obito dropped his weapon and stepped back. Kakashi, still in the movements, came in towards the shocked Obito, ready to finish it. Getting a hold of himself, he saw the look in his best friend's face, or what used to be his best friend. He hesitated. It was then that Obito took his chance to disarm Kakashi, taking Kakashi's tanto for himself before knocking him to the ground. Fool, you should have killed your heart a long time ago. He went to stab Kakashi, but before he could, the tip of the blade caught something else. A desperate Naruto, feeling the need to protect his brother at all costs, jumped between Kakashi and Obito, catching the blade in his chest. There was a bit of a squeak as Naruto stood there, the pain rushing through his body. Don't touch my brother. As Naruto fell back, Kakashi in shock caught him. Obito was shocked as well, though he recovered quickly. Drat, I needed him alive. Oh well, I guess the Nine Tails will regenerate in a couple of years. Obito raised his blade again to finish them off, but Kakashi instinctively reached for the nearby katana, grabbed it, and threw it at Obito, using his Kamui to phase it through his heart. Obito gasped when he was struck. He stumbled back a bit, looking down at the wound before back at Kakashi. Damn you, he uttered before falling back. Kakashi sat there in shock. That was before he sat up and cradled Naruto in his arms. Naruto, he cried out. Naruto! Naruto was crying from the pain. Kakashi pulled him up into his arms and rushed off with him. Just stay with me, Naruto. I'll get you help. Kakashi, Naruto uttered with a weak voice. Kakashi, listen to me, he pleaded, hoping his last words would be heard. I'm here, Naruto, Kakashi said as he kept running toward the village. Stop and listen. Kakashi shook his head. No, I can save you. If I die, I want to tell you something. Please, he said as tears ran down his cheeks. Kakashi slowed down to a stop. He looked down, his eyes filled with worry. You're not going to die. Kakashi, Naruto said. I just wanted you to know I love you. I forgive you for not telling me the truth. I don't want to be forgiven, Naruto. I deserve the pain. I deserve to be hated by you. Naruto shook his head. No, you don't. I forgive you because I love you, and I don't want you to hurt. Kakashi was crying now. Please, Naruto, I already lost so many. I lost Obito, Rin, Minato, Kushina. I can't lose you now as well. Naruto spoke. You won't lose me. Wherever you are, I'll be there too. I'll live on, in your heart. Kakashi shook his head. No, that's not good enough, he said. I need you here, with me, actually with me. He was crying heavily now. Please, don't go. Naruto offered a small smile. Promise me something, big brother. Kakashi nodded. Anything. Naruto then spoke again. Promise me that you won't throw away your heart. Huh? Kakashi asked. I know your heart hurts, but don't throw it away. If you do, then where will I live? Kakashi hugged Naruto tightly. At this point, Kakashi's shirt was drenched in the boy's blood. Please, don't go. I'll do anything you ask. I'll never close my heart again, but please, don't go. Don't make me hurt. Naruto's eyes began to glaze over a little. He was losing the ability to see now. The light was fading fast. Kakashi, I love you. Kakashi looked down to see Naruto was no longer crying. Instead, his face bore a sense of fatigue and gentle joy in knowing he was cared for. The idea that his life meant enough that someone would cry that it was ending. Naruto, in those moments, knew his life had value, because if it didn't, nobody would miss him. But right now, Kakashi's tears, even though they hurt, gave Naruto peace and comfort in these final moments. I love you too, Naruto. Naruto's smile widened a little bit as he closed his eyes. Goodbye. No, Naruto! Naruto's eyes closed to darkness. He felt numb, as if he were floating through space without a body. What only seemed like a moment later, though, he saw a bright light. He heard a voice call out to him. Naruto, Naruto! Naruto smiled. Is this heaven? He opened his eyes to see a brightly lit room. He blinked a bit. Looking down, he saw the sheets of a bed. His chest was covered in bandages. He wanted to move, but his chest hurt so much it took his breath away. Looking over, he saw Kakashi sitting there, asleep. In the same place, on Naruto's arm, was a tube filled with a crimson substance. Naruto sat there for a moment before whispering, Kashi. There was no response. Kashi, he whispered again. Kakashi's eyes opened. He looked over at Naruto and almost fell out of his seat. He came over to his side. Naruto! Kakashi, so happy that the boy was alive, hugged him tightly, causing Naruto to yelp in pain at the added pressure. Sorry, Kakashi said. I'm just glad you're okay. I thought I died, Naruto said. I thought so too, but the doctors said that you were just barely alive. They attributed it to the Nine Tails in you, kickstarting regeneration in an attempt to keep you alive. As it turns out, if you die, so too does the Nine Tails. And if the Nine Tails dies, well, he doesn't want to die, so he keeps you alive. I brought you here, and they said that they needed to give you a blood transfusion. Since you're B positive and I'm O positive, I offered to give you some of mine, which they took. They said it probably saved your life. Naruto's eyes glistened with amazement as he heard the miracle that took place that would keep him together with his best friend. I love you, Kashi, Naruto said. I love you too, Naruto. After this, Naruto would be discharged into Kakashi's care, who would then bring Naruto home and tend to him personally until he was completely healed. Together, they played their games, watched movies, and enjoyed the time that they feared they would never have again. It turned out to be one of the better half months of their lives. But sorrowfully, Kakashi was still broken up by the need to kill his own best friend. His past had crept up on him and tried to destroy his future, but Naruto stuck close by him and stayed by his side. The years passed, and eventually Naruto would be allowed to graduate from the academy. The moment he did, Kakashi would invite him to join his new Team 7 alongside Sakura and Sasuke. And as they faced the future together, they knew that they would always have each other's backs. And that's the end of it. I hope you don't mind. I tried to make this one as tear-jerkery as possible. I hope I didn't overdo it. But anyway, that's the end of this story. Probably. That is, unless you all want to see a sequel or something like that sometime down the line. See what their time as brothers in Team 7 might be like. If so, be sure to let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell to show us how much you enjoyed the video, and be sure to share with all of your friends who you think might enjoy it. If this video blows up, well, I guess you'll leave us with no other choice but to make a sequel, huh? And if you still want some other videos with a similar or different vibe, then check out these other videos here. Until next time, peace out.